I know now that my wife has become a host to a Kandarian demon. I fear that the only way to stop these possessed by the spirits of the book is through the act of bodily dismemberment. Here's your look at the Trick or Treat Studios Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn, the Necronomicon Ex Mortis replica prop. Legend has it was written by the Dark Ones. Necronomicon Ex Mortis, roughly translated to the Book of the Dead. The book served as a passageway into the evil world beyond. It was written long ago when seas ran red with blood. It was this blood that was used to ink the book. In the year 1300 AD, the book disappeared until it was later discovered by Professor Raymond Noby in the ruins of Castle Candor. These artifacts are only an insight as to what evil could be lurking just outside of our world. Though I'm sure very ill-advised, before we start flipping through the pages of this possessed book, I'd like to first thank the folks over at Trick or Treat Studios that did kindly provide the sample of the Evil Dead 2 Book of the Dead Necronomicon prop that we could have a look at. It is, as of right now, still available over on their site for $119.99, or you can also go the route of 4 interest-free installments of $29.99. That being said, let's go ahead and grab the tape measure just in case, again, you guys want to see how big the book is. From the bottom to the top, you're looking at the Necronomicon at being exactly 10 inches in height, or that's going to work out to be about 26 centimeters in length. As for its width, though, from the end of its spine to the front of its opening, just flip it around first to inches, you're looking at it being about 8.5 inches in width, or it's going to be about 21.5 centimeters wide. While maybe not being bound in flesh, the book, though, is bound in natural latex. So if you have a natural allergy to latex, this may not be a prop collectible you may want to have to your collection, but it is, though, based on the design of the Necronomicon from Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn, a somewhat rebooted sequel to the original Evil Dead film, in which, obviously, the Book of the Dead does make some drastic changes to the way it's sculpted. The book, obviously, in this case, is actually based on the face that it has in the second follow-up film. Although the coloring, I would say, though, going back and looking at the source material, I think the Necronomicon in Evil Dead 2 is kind of more of a darker chestnut brown than maybe the lighter brown that we get here. An opportunity, though, I will say, from Trick or Treat's part, by making the book bound in a lighter brown, is it also gives away a chance for some of the features like the face, for example, to stand a little bit more. Simply just because, again, they're using a darker coloring. You can see, like, for the face, for example, and where, I guess, a serviceable nasal cavity as well as a mouth would be, that these are all been well handled in a darker coloring of paint. Again, if they had gone, say, the route of a darker chestnut brown, like it would be in the movie, and I think also in the movie, it's a little bit more of a duller finish than the more shinier. This actually comes across more like it actually has been wrapped in flesh. As interesting as that is. It's certainly a little more shinier here, maybe not as shiny as it is on the spine. And then, of course, on the back, it doesn't have maybe some of the pizzazz that the front of the face of the book would have, but it does still have some really cool texturing, all that they've added into the book itself. Now, the book is actually quite well bound. It does have, if you open up the book, for example, we want to make sure we've got it flipped around the right way here. If we open up the book, again, I think it's okay because I don't speak Kandarian, so I think we might be okay. But inside the book, as you can see, what they've done is they've attached sort of a craft, like a parchment paper on the inside book, and it's also on the other side there also as well. And then flipping through the pages, all written in blood, you can see like each of the individual pages do actually have detailing, like just exactly like it would be from the movie. Flipping through the pages, actually, the pages are a little harder to flip through just because, again, the way they've frayed them. It's not a completely flat page, for example, nor really should it be. The way it obviously is depicted in the movie is that all the pages are sort of kind of really mangled looking as they are flipping through it. But if we were to say flip through the pages, I just want to show you some of the work that they put into these. Fairly accurate from what at least we see of the book being flipped through in Evil Dead 2. Just again, you can see it there on the one side there, and then flip it around to the other side. That's a page we might want to just quickly flip through. The paper quality, I will say, is quite good. It's sort of more like a thicker cardboard, but it still has a little bit of give. It's like a cardstock paper, I would say, and sort of the coloring that they went with is more like that craft color like it would be in the movie. Again, on the other side, again, we're kind of delving now into the deeper ends of possession here. There's an eyeball and a severed head. The book itself, I feel, is quite well made. The only thing I will say, though, about the book as we just kind of flip through the remaining pages of it, this is kind of where we get to more the end of the world sort of circumstances. But like each of the pages, as you can see, has just as much detail as the page before it. Again, there's a series of stacked skulls. And they're on the back there, the Necronomicon. The one of 3 Necronomicons, as established a little bit later in the lore. But again, like, the book is well made. The only thing I will say, though, is like the book is in some pretty pristine quality, which is actually a good thing, too, because obviously if you're getting this book, you'd hate to think it'd be frayed or anything along those lines. But now I have seen some individuals who have picked the book up for themselves that have sort of bent the book or sort of warped the book a little bit, so it wasn't because as it is right now, simply just because, again, it's brand new, it's been taken just out of the packaging about half an hour to an hour ago. The book is sort of more in a pristine nature, kind of like what you would expect with a leather bound binder. It, again, like everything is sort of well put together, very flat on the sides, or a little bit slightly rounded on the sides, but it doesn't have sort of more the warped, kind of disheveled look that the book would have in the movie. And I have seen some people actually sort of warp the pages, warp the actual spine of the book, so it has a little more of a roughness to it. I don't know if necessarily I would maybe go that route, because I think the book looks fine as it is. The one thing also that does concern me, although the weather conditions will of course permit, how much humidity, for example, you have in your collection room will always be the thing that sways the direction of like leather or faux leather material bound things like costumes if you have like 6-scale figures. Or even for the fact that this is also latex. Latex will break down, so of course, the longer that you have like a book like this in your collection, there may be a little bit of like flaking or chipping, I would imagine, that would happen down the road. But a lot of that really honestly has to do as well with the conditions of where you keep your collectibles. If you have a generally dry room, you don't have like a lot of humidity, where like latex can naturally start to break down, like with masks and stuff. That's one thing that mask collectors are always really worried about, is like the longevity of their masks. They want to make sure that latex doesn't break down. I think like quality wise, the book does look good. I mean, short of maybe again just kind of warping the pages, or maybe just sort of buckling a bit of the spine into the front and the back of the cover so it looks a little bit more the way it was in the movie. Like it's a really neat looking book, and I think as well for the price, Trick or Treat Studios have done a really great job of recreating the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon prop from, of course, Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. As I was saying earlier, though, the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, or loosely translated, of course, to the Book of the Dead, is currently available over on Trick or Treat Studios' website as of right now. It's $119.99 for, again, a pretty well-bound book that looks like it did in the Evil Dead 2 film. They have also not only stocked over there the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, but they also have the Kandarian Dagger. So if that would be a prop you'd like to get and add to your collection as well, they are both available as of right now over on Trick or Treat Studios' website. If you have had the chance to pick up the Necronomicon, let me know down below in the comments section what you guys think of it. And once again, a big thank you to the folks over at Trick or Treat Studios that were kind enough to provide the sample of the Evil Dead 2 Book of the Dead Necronomicon prop that we had the chance to have a look at in this review. If you guys enjoyed this video, speaking of which, why not hit with a like? If you guys are loving the content you guys are seeing and certainly would like to stick around for more, make sure if you haven't already done so that you hit that subscribe button down below, and you're also as well turning on the bell notification. You want a little bit more Trick or Treat Studios? Don't blame you. Popping up at the very end of this video as well, there is also going to be a playlist, so feel free to give that a gander. That's all the other things I've looked at from Trick or Treat Studios in the past. That includes as well all the 6-scale figures that they have been very coolly producing over the years. That's including as well the Halloween Michael Myers lineup too. So feel free to check out that playlist if you have a little bit of time on your hands. Of course, as always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.